What you're about to see is me missing a shot on a fallow deer doe at just 150 meters. You want to see what professional chefs do with the game meat you can harvest in New Zealand? Well then, welcome to Born to Eat Wild. We take chefs hunting on private and public land and then dive into the food they make. You should know how the tool you're using works, and zeroing a rifle is about more just putting a hole in the center of a paper. Ethically, you should know how to do a quick and clean kill. We also think if you miss a shot, that animal is a goner, because the adrenaline will probably spoil the meat. The cool thing about Luno is he wants to be part of the whole process. So the moment he gets a chance to move in behind a rifle, he does.
Nice.
Whoa.
How's that, man? Yeah, it's
a decent shot.
It's a dead animal.
You did good.
I actually felt like I thought the recoil was going to be way more.
Yeah, cool.
But
oh,
it's
that's good.
Yeah, it wasn't like violent.
So you can pop that out. And now just see how these are still in here. So if you're going to close it, you just push that down a bit.
We are at Leathen Valley Hunts, known for its big fallow bucks and monster red deer stags. But we are only after meat animals, and host Rachel Stewart has asked us to harvest a few cull animals, which we gladly do.
So our place, the boundary goes pretty much the skyline up to those sheds. Comes around here.
I woke up in the middle of the night, opened my eyes, said my oh my, I'm dreaming you. Well, all my dreams are sweet when I lay me down to sleep, not dreaming you. Don't give me no fuss, don't give me no fight. It's only one thing in the middle of the night I need, that's dreaming of you. Well, all my dreams are sweet when I lay me down to sleep, I'm dreaming of you.
I just had a little humbling experience missing a doe at 150 meters. Yeah, welcome to hunting, guys.
Shit happens. You'll be right.
You can tell your mama and your daddy too, your brother and your sisters and your best friend too. I'm dreaming of you. Well, all my dreams are sweet when I lay me down to sleep, I dream of you. Well, all my dreams are sweet when I lay me down to sleep, I dream of you.
I missed the shot this morning, but things change quickly. We spot a fallow doe, get a good stalk with the wind in our favor, and it pays off.
plate.
Perfect.
Look.
This is the first hunt you've been on, right?
Correct.
So sitting here, looking at this, do you associate it with food immediately, or is it like removed?
Initially, no. But as, 2 minutes into it, definitely, food.
You start thinking about breaking it up and how it's gonna look.
Correct.
So you have a lot of information, you can get from an animal when it's down. Like just looking in general, how is the body, the muscle. You can start to understand the body score, and then how it was walking, if there's any trauma, injuries. And then if you want to age it, the best thing is that through the teeth.
Yeah.
Let's open this and see it.
When Franco was living in France, he used to do autopsies to establish the cause of death of game animals. Having him on a hunt makes everything just that much more interesting.
Yeah, already when you start to see the crest, you see it's like mountains.
Yeah.
The peaks are so high, just to make you an image of what we are looking at. So you can already see the steers young. More they advance on the age, and more this crest here, they're going to disappear. They're going to be more flat.
So she's not as old as
No.
her spine, looking at her spine.
And the mouth will be completed more or less in 30 months, like more or less the Sika, the red deer. And then you'll see that in the 2 years they will change the third premolar.
Yeah.
You see 2 cusps here.
Yeah.
Before it will be with 3 cusps.
Ah, okay, yeah.
And then you know that deer change at 2 years old more or less, okay? And then you see, she has first molar there. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 is pushing the last molar, okay?
Yeah.
So it's between 2,
So
3
not
years
that-
old.
Yeah.
A 2 or 3 years old animal.
Today is the day I make the change. I throw my old ways out the door. They'll hit the fan and spin around. They'll swirl and die and hit the floor. Nothing ahead but a sleepless night, and my head won't quit the dream. My flooded thoughts dripped down.
First thing I noticed when I walked up to her was I could see her spine a bit, and she's just throwing off a young fawn, which is probably still suckling off her a little bit. And I did see that fawn run off by itself before we shot, and it was old enough to survive on its own, so I have no qualms there. And you'll just see a little bit of milk if you squeeze real hard come out, but it's fully not feeding off her, so good one to get.
Minutes later, Franco crawls up on a red deer hind. But we're really just here for one thing, and that is to see what Luna does with this meat. Rachel, what do you guys usually do? Like, how do you hang it? Like, what's the way you like it?
Well, when we're really busy, we've got the chiller, so basically we skin it down, break it down and put it in the chiller. But my favourite way is to hang it in here for a day with the skin on, and then take the skin off the next day, hang it for another day, just with a bit of fresh air around it, and then into the chiller. And I just find working with the meat.
That gives it that nice 3 days. Yep.
Aging.
Aging on the carcass, you know, which is supposedly better. You're making me.
One leg off, so it's sort of, we work with the weight.
Yeah. So I should, yeah.
You feel, yeah. Perfect.
That color is ultimate.
That's beautiful. Eh?
Yeah, man. That's
Yeah.
that's the money right there. So tenderloin is just run it along
Yeah,
the
so just-
backbone here.
Yeah. Come in and then it sort of skins off and you can pull it away like you did the,
So skin it on.
yeah,
run
feel
it
it
on
right down
this.
the bone bit.
That looks good. And there's not a lot of silver skin on it. Should we just lay it on top?
Yeah, on top of it. I can't wait for a good feast.
Amazing what it breaks down into though.
Yeah.
Such a, you know, huge, majestic animal. Onto 2 trays.
Yeah. And so the front legs are not wasted either, but they're shot up. So
Yeah.
we'll use those for the dogs because
Yeah.
we have lots of working dogs on. Glory. Now may your work begin
Here we go.
as we await your amazingness.
We're going to start with the major cuts. These are just pockets of the actual leg.
Yeah.
So yeah, look there, these kind of fulfill certain pockets all along the leg. This is a little bit time consuming, but this meat is like ultra valuable. You know, this is a quarter of what you're gonna get off the beast.
Yeah,
But it makes you work for it.
Yeah.
These general cuts in the leg are high heat for a very short amount of time.
And that's what you're going for today because you're going to use fire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
today we're gonna go for that. We'll do a few things in the pan and then we'll do some on the fire. Because also the reason why they're that way is because they're lean. There's absolutely no fat on this meat,
Yeah.
100% protein, you know. This is some of the best dark red meat you can get,
Yeah.
definitely. So today with our venison that we got yesterday, we're gonna make a few dishes going through with everything. Rachel,
What's
what are
going
you
on,
doing?
What are we making? Sorry.
So we're just gonna make some accompaniments with the venison, some potatoes, some stroganoff, and some wild rice, which go real nice with the venison.
So Luna, you're making accompaniments. What are you doing for accompaniments?
Excellent. So what we're gonna get on is we're first gonna get on a wild rice that will go with a cut of the venison.
Yeah.
Wild rice generally takes a little bit longer than regular rice.
Yeah.
3-to-1 ratio. So we'll get that on first. And then we're going to make some potatoes, classical fondant potatoes,
Okay.
just butter, thyme, garlic, and cook time.
Yeah.
And then we will do a stroganoff, sorry.
Venison stroganoff.
Venison stroganoff, not beef. Exactly the same components: mushroom, onion, garlic, sour cream. But instead of using beef fillet, we'll use venison backstrap.
Yeah, and it's a red deer. This is a red deer that Franco shot yesterday. Yeah.
Correct.
This world, it's so unkind. One day you're king, the next you're crucified.
Keep to that.
What good is true without love? What good are we if just flesh and blood? In this world, it's so cruel. You think you won the game and they've gone and changed the rules. But maybe I'm just a fool to believe there's something beautiful inside of you and me.
You look at same confidence if you hadn't done that? Did that like teach you? Is it a completely different approach game? Because a lot of people are so afraid of game meat.
No, we used a lot of game meat prior to me being at Minaret.
Okay.
Game has always been a part of restaurants that I've worked in.
Yeah.
Of course, very different when you're doing kind of what we did, which is going to get the animal, using the animal on the basis that mankind kind of developed from, rather than being able to go and shop for it in the supermarket.
How long must I wait to see this world change? Oh, I long for the day that my tears are gone. And each day that goes by, oh, I watch evil rise, and it's getting harder to find.
Just by what the meat looks like and feels like, it's not holding a lot of water content. It's quite sticky.
Yeah.
That's always a good sign. Meat. And you know, the fact that it's only been hanging for a day, in 5 days this would be a totally different product again, and in 18 to 20 days it'd be whole nother thing.
Ideally, you want it to hang for 3 days at least before you start, right?
Yeah, 3 days ideal, but you're not taking away from anything if you eat it before that.
Okay.
I would refrain from eating it on the same day,
Yeah.
100%, but on the second day, if it's been hung on the carcass, it's dried out a little bit, it looks like it'll be fine.
It's also a bit of a controversial issue because there's people who are like, hang it a week, hang it, and they get very emotional about this.
Yeah, and there's no certain time to hang the meat.
Yeah.
The basic rule of thumb is the longer you hang it, the more tender it becomes.
Yeah.
This is the process of the caramelization of butter with the starches of the potato. It's going to come to a point where it's beautiful golden brown. It's getting there. You can see that's what it is now, but it will be golden brown all over. But this is just the frothiness, is the caramelization of the milk solids in the butter, which is going to give it beautiful sweet flavor and make it nice and crispy.
If you ask me, there's only one way to cook venison, and that's over an open fire.
So what? Just go with the flow.
Yeah,
Pinch.
just a
Good
little
pinch.
pinch. That the red sticky.
Yeah, the regular. So
big
it doesn't
guy.
matter what muscle group on it, just whatever.
Yeah, because it's all quick fry,
Yeah.
basically. You want to lay it so that every piece of meat is getting some nice, good heat. So essentially all you're waiting for is all the meat to get just some color on it. And we'll season it a little bit again.
You can make this in a backcountry hut too, probably.
Yep, absolutely.
We want the meat harvested from New Zealand game animals to find its rightful place on our plates. But here, the mere act of hunting and trying to use meat as a sustainable resource is an act saying that we embrace the change that was brought by the establishment of non-native species. It's saying that we want to form an alliance with something anathema to this landscape. It's a social contract that is always teetering on the edge because hunters see these animals as acceptable pests, and the government always seem to want to disrupt this. How do we love the native fauna and flora and also love game that did not choose to be here but are now everywhere? Well, you manage it sustainably. And to do that, wild meat has to be cool for rural folk and city slickers alike.
I didn't even know how to, the process.
Yeah.
And then you
Well, I mean, if you don't know any different, it's
Yeah.
okay. But if you know,
Yeah.
it makes it so much better.
When he's gone hunting, you know, with younger kids and stuff, that's what I like.
Oh yeah,
That's what gets my,
yeah.
I would my professional advice is if you cover it, what it's going to do is continue the cooking process because it's still cooking now.
Yeah.
So you cover it, it continues it even longer, and it takes away when the objective when you cook on the grill is to get grill marks because grill marks equal flavor. So the brown part is your flavor. So without having that, you know it's just any piece of beef really. But the thing about covering it is that if you cover it with anything, it means that you're losing that beautiful the texture that you're trying to create because that's what it is. It's texture. You want it nice and crunchy, then to go into nice and smooth meat with finishing with crunchy on the other side.